Because one of the big things that did happen with the Board of Finance this year is how the Board of Finance stepped in as part of that Ambler Farm lease process. And we touched on it a bit in one question, but I want to be specific to that. The impression for some people might be that, you know, Ambler Farm plays such an important part and role in Wilton's history, in the amenity it provides to residents, in the way it brings people from out of town. And some people felt as if the Board of Finance might not have been as respectful to that part of, Ambler Farms, the role that they play in the town. In addition, and I think that this was felt by a lot of the people at Friends of Ambler Farm, the relationship between the Friends of Ambler Farm and the town is different than, let's say, the Wilton Garden Club that is helping with the Old Town Hall and other organizations, Trackside, for instance, that they are acting as agents of the town. And if you didn't have them, what would the town do, with this property that it suddenly had to take care of? How do you answer that? Or, how do you respond and feel about those kinds of criticism?
All criticism, yeah, I want to hear, right? These are people in town. Everyone has their thoughts. It's important for people to feel free to express whatever it is they're feeling. I love Ambler Farm, right? I think it's a tremendous amenity for the people of Wilton. I go there, right? My wife and I love the apple cider there. It's a great benefit for Wilton. When the Board of Finance weighed in, and we can get very technical on the lease, we weren't weighing in on Ambler Farm. We were weighing in on the lease. I am a big supporter of Ambler Farm. I voted in favor of the bond project on a personal level, right? That was recently passed. I had some issues from a Board of Finance perspective, but personally, I wanted to see it done, and I'm glad that it passed. That said, the initial draft, taking a step back, the Board of Finance, it's a great role. It's a great position. Sometimes you need to look at things in a way that isn't the most fun. And so I am simultaneously a big supporter of Ambler Farm and supporting them from a municipal perspective, but also believe in strong fiscal governance as well. And those two things, they're never in conflict, but sometimes they rub up against each other. I think this is an example of that. The first lease that was sent to us, it quite literally violated Connecticut general statutes. You cannot encumber future boards. You cannot tell the Board of Finance that you have to spend this. The only way you can do that is debt service. And even then, we still vote on debt service, right? And the lease that was initially presented did not have it. It was an automatic pass. And so that was issue number one that we needed to deal with. And my understanding, I have not seen a really recent draft release since I spoke to the Board of Selectmen in, when was it, April, May? So my assumption is that's been dealt with. Second, I believe in the power of democracy. I mean that sincerely, and that I'm a big supporter. I think we should support this, but we should give the future generations the ability to weigh in on this. 100-year lease is a really long time from now. And I wanted to look, I'm in favor of having extensions and things like that, giving the entity the right protection they have to do the right, to look after the farm. But there needed to be the ability for elected leaders generations from now to weigh in. And those were the two biggest things. And I think it was like 17 points that I kind of went through, like in the nitty gritty, in the details. But that was basically it. At no point did I or anybody in the Board of Finance weigh in on against the farm. In fact, we went out of our way to say we're big proponents of the farm. We're supporters. Some of us donate to it. I'm on the mailing list. We got all this stuff. But we do need to make sure that the contracts that Wilton signs us up into, again, this isn't sexy to say, it's not based on emotion, right? It's got to be based on sound government. And on the basis of sound government, we can do great things, but we need to make sure the governance is in place. So I'm a big supporter of Ambler Farm. I'm a big supporter of strong governance. And when the Board of Finance weighed in, and when I weighed in, it was with those two concepts in mind. And ultimately, it's better for the farm if it's based on town governance, based on sound governments, because then it can't be challenged in the future as well.